You know what keeps me up at night? It's not the headlines, it's what's happening behind them. Right now, while we're all arguing about politics, something massive is unfolding. Leaders from Germany, France, China, Canada, and dozens of other countries are having quiet conversations about one thing: how to build a world that doesn't need America anymore. I'm not being dramatic, I'm being literal. We're watching the global order get rewritten in real time, and most people have no idea it's even happening. Trump's America First policy sounds great on a bumper sticker, right? Put America first, protect our jobs, make better deals. But here's what nobody tells you: in a globalized economy, there's no such thing as going it alone. When you punch the world in the face, the world doesn't just stand there, it punches back. And then it builds a new gym where you're not invited. Let me break down what's really going on, because this isn't just about trade wars or tariffs. This is about the slow, methodical dismantling of American dominance. And whether you voted red, blue, or didn't vote at all, this is going to hit your wallet, your job, and your future harder than you think. So let's start with the obvious question: how did we get here? For 70 years, the world ran on a simple playbook. America leads, everyone follows, the dollar is king, our military keeps the peace, our markets are the prize everyone wants access to. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Everyone had skin in the game. We bought their stuff, they bought ours. We protected trade routes, they played by our rules. Then came the tariffs. 25% on steel, 20% on cars, massive taxes on Chinese goods. And the pitch was simple: make foreign products expensive so Americans buy American. Sounds reasonable until you realize American companies couldn't handle the demand. We didn't have the capacity. We didn't have the infrastructure. So what happened? American manufacturers building cars, appliances, homes, they all had to pay more, way more. And guess who absorbed that cost? You did. I did. Every single consumer in America. But here's where it gets interesting. Europe didn't just sit there and take it. They hit back. Tariffs on bourbon, on Harley-Davidson motorcycles, on soybeans and pork. Entire American industries got priced out of their biggest markets overnight. And when Harley-Davidson, this iconic American brand, moved production overseas to avoid the tariffs, that should have been the wake-up call, but it wasn't. Now here's what most people miss. This isn't just about economics, it's about trust. And trust, once broken, doesn't come back with a better trade deal. When you're Germany and you've been a loyal ally for 70 years and suddenly America slaps tariffs on your steel, you start asking yourself a question: if they can do this to us, what else are they capable of? That question is dangerous, because once your allies start looking for alternatives, they find them, and that's exactly what's happening. Europe created something called INSTEX. Most people have never heard of it, but it's one of the most important financial systems in the world right now. France, Germany, and the UK built it to trade without using American dollars. Let that sink in. Our closest allies built a payment system specifically designed to cut us out. And it's not stopping there. Christine Lagarde, head of the European Central Bank, said it outright: Europe needs to act independently. She's not talking about culture or politics. She's talking about money, about building an economy that doesn't need American approval, American banks, or American influence. Meanwhile, the EU is signing trade deals with everyone except us: Japan, Canada, South American countries. They're creating a massive trade network, and we're on the outside looking in. American companies that used to dominate European markets are now facing local competitors who get preferential treatment. Our diplomats, who used to set the agenda in Brussels, are now getting polite smiles and firm rejections. This is what losing influence looks like. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's European leaders calling Beijing before they call Washington. It's trade routes shifting east instead of west. It's the quiet unraveling of everything we built. And then there's China. Oh man, China. While we've been fighting, they've been building. The Belt and Road Initiative is the largest infrastructure project in human history. Over $1 trillion spent on roads, railways, ports, and pipelines across Asia, Africa, and Europe. They're financing entire economies, and every single project has one goal: make trade flow through Beijing instead of Washington. When Trump started the trade war, China didn't panic. They pivoted. Instead of relying on American consumers, they doubled down on everyone else. Africa became a priority. Southeast Asia became a hub. Europe became a partner. And they created RCEP, a free trade agreement with 14 Asia-Pacific nations representing 30% of global GDP. Guess who's not in it? Us. China's buying ports in Greece, Italy, Belgium. They're financing 5G networks across Africa. They're offering loans to countries the World Bank won't touch. And every deal comes with an unspoken message: align with us, not them. Countries that used to look to America for leadership are now looking to China for investment. The dollar, the world's reserve currency for 80 years, is being challenged by the yuan. And our geopolitical power? It's eroding one deal at a time, but it's not just economics, it's security, it's trust. NATO is fracturing. Trump's threats to pull out unless Europe pays more have created a crisis of confidence. So now France and Germany are talking about a European defense force independent of us. Canada, our neighbor and oldest friend, got hit with tariffs on steel and aluminum, and they realized something terrifying. If America can turn on Canada, it can turn on anyone. So they're exploring alliances with the EU and Asia that don't include us. Here's the part that really gets me. While politicians play power games, American families are paying the price. Every tariff has a cost. Washing machines suddenly cost $100 more. New cars jumped $3,000. Coffee got expensive. Electronics became unaffordable. Construction costs made housing even more out of reach. And it's all tariffs. Here's the scam. When we tax foreign goods, American companies don't become more competitive. They just raise their prices to match. If foreign steel costs 25% more, domestic producers charge 20% more and still look like the cheaper option. You lose, they win. The trade partnership estimated Trump's tariffs cost America 166,000 manufacturing jobs, not Chinese jobs, American jobs. Because when we tax Chinese electronics, China retaliates by taxing American soybeans. Farmers lose their biggest customer. Farms shut down. Rural towns collapse. The Federal Reserve said tariffs cost the average household $1,300 a year. That's groceries, that's rent. That's the difference between making it and drowning in debt. The cruelest irony of America First is that it hurts Americans first. The workers it promised to save are losing jobs. The consumers it claimed to protect are paying more for everything. And the global respect that used to make American business attractive, gone. So where does this lead? I think about the Suez Crisis in 1956. Britain and France invaded Egypt, confident their imperial power still mattered. America stepped in and said stop. And they did. Because the world had shifted. That moment ended European dominance and started the American century. Are we living through that moment again? Except this time we're the ones being told to sit down. The signs are everywhere. The dollar is being challenged. Trade routes are being redrawn. Alliances are being rebuilt. And the assumption that the world needs us more than we need them is being tested. China isn't rising anymore, it's risen. Europe isn't frustrated, it's independent. And countries in Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia aren't choosing sides, they're choosing themselves. The world we built after World War II, where American leadership was assumed, where our military protected global trade, where our currency was default, it's not collapsing, it's being replaced. And we're speeding up the process. We're watching a multipolar world being born. Not because anyone planned it, but because America forced everyone else to fend for themselves. Here's the hard truth. Empires don't end with invasions. They end with irrelevance. They end when the world stops calling. When trade routes bypass you, when your currency becomes optional, when your influence is a history lesson, not current events. And that's the path we're on right now. I'm not here to tell you Trump is right or wrong. I'm here to show you what's actually happening. The world is moving on. And it's looking like they're doing it without us. Europe is building alternatives. China is building networks. Our allies are making backup plans. And Americans are paying higher prices for a trade war that was supposed to make us richer. The question isn't whether America First sounds good, it's whether we can afford the world it's creating. A world where we're isolated, expensive, and no longer necessary. Being a superpower isn't a birthright, it's a responsibility. And when you walk away from that, the title doesn't wait, it moves to someone else. So here's what I want you to think about. 10 years from now, what will history say? Will it talk about the American century, or will it talk about the century America decided it didn't need the world, and the world returned the favor? That's the question keeping me up, and honestly, it should keep you up too. All right, that's it from me. Stay sharp out there and keep your eyes open because this story is far from over.